Here's a question. Would you buy an Alfa Romeo SUV? Now think about it. A company with such an incredible history like Alfa Romeo, could you bring yourself to buy an SUV with an Alfa badge? Well, Alfa rather hopes you will. This is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Now make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn notifications on as well, and make sure you like this video, comment and visit newmotoring.com. Alfa is known for many things, but building SUVs is not on that list. But Alfa had to do it. We might all want Alfa Romeo to continue to build saloons and sports cars, but the reality is, unless you're a company like Ferrari and you can sell as many hats and key rings and pens and jumpers as you want with a Ferrari badge on it, you need to build SUVs. You've just got to do it. Now the Stelvio is built on the same platform as the Giulia, but unlike the Giulia, you can get this with rear-wheel drive, but also all-wheel drive. Considering this is Alfa's first SUV, I think they've done rather a good job. I wasn't convinced, to be honest, before I saw it in person, but I really like its relative simplicity. The Giulia for me is still the better looking car, but this is very, very pretty. Inside, it feels very similar to the Giulia, really. You've just got more space. I really don't like the rubbery plastic top to the dashboard. I think it's fairly horrible, actually. And there's definitely some style over substance in the interior. I mean, the nav screen, for example. I know people with phones that are bigger than that screen, but it's not bad. And what you've got in here are some really nice little Alfa touches that Alfa do really well, like these huge aluminium paddles behind the steering wheel. I mean, they're just gorgeous. I just want them. You can have a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine with 200 brake horsepower or 280 brake horsepower, or you can have a 2.2-litre turbo diesel, and that has either 180 brake horsepower or 210 brake horsepower. You also have a choice of one when it comes to gearboxes. It's the same 8-speed automatic you get in the Giulia. Underneath, it has the 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine with 280 brake horsepower and 297 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 5.7 seconds, which is actually not too shabby, and the top speed is 143 miles an hour. Low fuel. That's what happens when you start accelerating quickly. It sounds a little bit like a diesel at low revs. I'm going to be honest, it's not a particularly sonorous noise, and even when you get it higher up into the rev range, it doesn't really have the same charm as some of Alfa's old engines. They used to be V6s, and a turbo 4-cylinder just doesn't do it for me in the same way. But there is no denying how effective it is. I mean, 5.7 to 62 miles an hour in a car of this size, and it's not even supposed to be the fast one, not really, that's what the Quadrifoglio is for. I think that's, yeah, pretty brisk. And when you want it to be relaxing, when you want it to be quiet, it is relaxing and quiet. It's also not that bad on fuel, to be honest. Have I noticed the fact that this is all-wheel drive compared to the Giulia's rear-wheel drive? If I'm honest, no, not really, but that's because the roads for the last week or so have been absolutely bone dry. I mean, the whole of the country is now brown compared to its beautiful green shade that it normally is. But I'm in no doubt really that the all-wheel drive system will help it in wet conditions. The gearbox, as I've said, is the same 8-speed automatic you get in the Giulia, and as I've already said, also I really love the paddles behind the wheel. The gearbox itself though, it isn't smooth all of the time. It's okay, but sometimes when you're going down through the gears, when it's in automatic and also with the paddles, it just drags a little. You feel your head kind of rocking as it changes down. It's not perfect. The suspension is busy, there's always something going on, but it's still comfortable. I don't get out and feel absolutely battered. And actually, I think a lot of that could be down to the fact that this has 20-inch wheels. 20-inch wheels are great to look at, but not necessarily best for comfort. So I imagine it would be slightly more comfortable, slightly more settled with 19s or 18s. The steering is modern Alfa. It doesn't have much feel. It's also very, very light, but it is also very fast and very direct. You really don't need very much steering angle at all to get the wheels to turn, to get the car to point. What's strange though is getting into a car with the familiar Alfa steering wheel, the Alfa paddles, the similar Giulia surroundings, but you've got that higher driving position. There's not as much adjustability as there is in the Giulia. I find myself getting more comfortable in the Giulia than I do in the Stelvio, but it's still not bad. Where I think the Giulia struggles is its brake pedal. There's no lack of brake performance, not really, but it's just the brake pedal itself. The feel of the brake pedal isn't particularly good. It's okay for the first little bit of travel, but after that, I don't really know, I can't really feel how much braking performance I'm getting, how quickly I'm going to stop. Prices start at £34,035, and if you want this car, the Milano Edizione, it's going to be £10,000 more. It's £44,035. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect to like this car, but I know now, having driven it, yes, there are cars, SUVs, that are more practical, they're more usable, probably a bit better value, but there's just something special about this car. It has a charm to it that other companies, I'm sure even if they tried to engineer it in, couldn't manage. What do you think of the Stelvio? Would you just have a Giulia? Do you think Alfa should even be making an SUV at all? Well, let me know in the comments below.